Look, I know that the joined can't hurt people, but there's got to be a point in time where Zosha just wakes up and be like, "Hey, Carol, I'm about done with you." Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. The fourth episode of Pluribus is here. It is called Please, Carol, which sounds harmless right now, but also terrifying at the very end of this episode. One thing that Vince is really good at doing, if you followed him through Breaking Bad and you followed him through Better Call Saul, he has a great art and eye of putting cold opens to his episodes that don't directly connect, but in some way have a connection to what he's doing with this in this episode. And so this episode opens up with uh, the person who was in Paraguay, Monosos, I believe is his name. We get to see how he has managed to evade the joining and joined and kind of live and continue to live his life the way that he has. When this all went down, he was the manager of a storage unit facility. So, you know, they're pretty much gated up, they're pretty secure. You can't get in or out of there without locks and making it happen because these guys are very passive and don't want to cause harm or cause pain or make people angry. They're not going to break into this place. And so he's just taking fort inside of this basically like public storage. He's just hanging out. He's got food, he's got supplies, he's got enough rations in this place to go for quite some time. He's it's very cool to sort of see how he operates. He and you can tell that he's kind of a kind person because he's writing these notes out to hopefully the folks that come back to get their stuff one day to say, "Hey, I'm sorry, things got real here for a little bit, so I had to go ahead and break up into your unit and take some things. My bad. I'll make it up to you when things are better." They're not going to be better, but he still has the forthright to go ahead and put that information out there to make them, whoever it is, feel better. We also see that the joint know where he's at. And so they've done these drive-bys to drop off food right outside the gate to give to him, and he just completely knocks it over and it's like, nah, I want no parts of that. He doesn't want to acquiesce or give in to anything that they have to give. He doesn't know if that stuff's going to poison him. He has no clue. So he would rather eat dog food that he finds in some of these facilities than eat what it is that they bring him. But he's very much a meticulous man. He's checking and charting frequencies of these experiments that he's running to see if there is a way out, if there's a way to sort of figure out what's happening, and if he can make a way out of dealing with these joined. And I like him. He with the little bit of time that I've gotten, I realize that this is going to be a character that when he comes back, I'm going to love every minute of him. We then see the other side. We see the call that Carol made in the last episode when she was on the plane and cursed him out. We get to see that side kind of come in at the tail end of it. And that's how this episode begins. An introduction to a new character that is just, it's fun to watch. I mentioned in the last review that I was like, there's going to be a point where we meet this character. Didn't expect it to happen so fast and be so fleshed out in just a bit of a scene, but oh, Vince, you've mastered the art of doing that. We then pick up in present day with Carol, and Carol is she's a habitual line stepper. She is trying to figure out how far she can push the joined without them becoming, violent towards her. How far she can push them to get it is just what she wants. And boy, does she test that limit in this episode. She returns home from the hospital and finds that all the joined are out there, and they are cleaning up the blow up, the explosion that happened there in the last episode. They're just kind of fixing and whatnot. And they give, she asked, like, why are you doing this? I didn't give you clearance to do this. And I was like, well, you kind of did. When we were driving to the hospital and you were trying to take care of Zosha, we asked, hey, can we clean up the mess back there? And you sort of nodded in agreement. And so that is what we did. We went in and cleaned it up. And so she's like, fine, okay, just do what it is you got to do and get out of here. She gets into her house and then she starts writing down on her whiteboard what it is she knows about the joint so far. She's like, all right, what do I know about these folks? She sort of starts breaking it down piece by piece. She's like, I know that they're eager to please. They can't kill a fly. They don't have favorites. Like all jerks, if you're a jerk, if you're not, you're a prick. They treat you the same. They have nobody that they like more than the other. They're trying to change me, which is starred, has multiple stars on both sides of it, which is a big thing we learn shortly why that is such a powerful comment for her and makes her feel like I want no parts of whatever this joint is doing. And then she puts it there weirdly honest. And for that, that triggers her to sort of create an experiment. And you'll find in this episode that Carol is full of experiments to try to test the limits of these joints. And so um, she goes and gets somebody off the front lawn whose name is Larry. His original human person that they took over is Larry. But obviously, as we all know, they're all joined together. And she sort of starts running him through the gamut of, hey, to see how far it is that they will lie or just be brutally honest. And so she asked if the people in the join, if they liked her books. And they're like, yes, we do. We love their books. And there's going to be some people who think she's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so they're going about saying, we love you. And some of them pull out passages in the books and say, this is what we love. This is what we have. She has, well, how do you feel about my books in comparison to Shakespeare? And there's some people in this join, in this unit, who are like, yeah, no, you right there on par with Shakespeare. Like, screw Romeo and Juliet. This book series that you wrote, that's the one. She then asks a little bit deeper and something that's a little bit more honest, because she knows, hey, if anybody's going to be brutally honest or truthful with me, it would be the thoughts of Helen. And so she asks, what did Helen think of my book series? And there's a pause there for a moment, because they're like, the last time you told us about Helen's memories, you said not to approach them, not to try them. So nah, we're not going to do that. It's like, nope, I'm giving you, in this one instance, I'm giving you the okay. What did Helen think about my books? And they're like, she thought they were harmless. She thought they were cotton candy, light, fluffy work, but that they succeeded in making people feel good. Like, and that is what the world needed. They needed more people to feel good. So she's like, they serve their purpose. You provided joy. Carol then asks, like, hey, how did she feel about my unpublished book? And in a roundabout way, they're like, yeah, she thought it was meh. And Carol's like, well, hold on. She thought it was just meh, but she was willing to have it published. And they're like, yes, she didn't think that this would be harmful to your career in any way whatsoever. And she realized that it made you happy. And so because it made you happy, she was willing to go ahead and do it. And she's like, cool, you can be gone. And that's the end of our conversation. And so in that experiment, she saw that, went back to the whiteboard and wrote down, they can't lie. They have to be brutally honest. And so even with the information that, even if it's harmful, they don't know that it's quote unquote harmful. They can't fabricate or add extra stuff to make it feel like you're getting anything less than the truth. And so eventually they're going to have to give you the truth. They try to dodge it around sometimes to say, hey, I'm not going to give you that information. But at the end of the day, they are inertly truthful, which gets the wheels turning even more for Carol, which is a dangerous thing when we get to it. So then Carol goes back to the hospital to check in on Zosha. She wants to first apologize that she got hurt. She's like, hey, I didn't realize that when I asked for a grenade, you folks are going to actually give me a grenade. So that's on me. Didn't realize that was going to be the case. I'm sorry. She then just comes down and asks, like, real quick, is there a way to undo the joining? To which Zosha pauses and doesn't answer, which, in the way that they operate, a non-answer is an answer, because they will just fully tell you the truth all the time. So if they don't tell you, that means they're trying to hide something. And so that sets Carol off even more down a rabbit hole where she's like, okay, I know you guys always have to tell the truth, but something is blocking you from being able to do so. So what if I get rid of that thing, that's that gate, that inhibition that's blocking you? The joint then used the slogan from camp that Carol used to go to when she was younger, a camp that she did not want to go to. It was a camp, a conversion camp that her mom sent her to when she was 16, when she was starting to identify and find her sexuality. Hint, this is why that little breadcrumb of the original pirate that Carol had in her book was a woman who looked like Sosha, because that is what Carol wrote as from her viewpoint and what she was attracted to, knowing that if you put it to the masses, she's going to have to switch that to a man. So this is all coming together. But in that, we also learned that Carol has zero desire or likes to be converted. And she feels like this is very much what her mom put her through, and trying to have her converted to saying that her sexuality was wrong. This group, these people are saying that my humanity is wrong. And she's like, all this smiling that you're doing is the same smiling that I got from the camp counselors there. And the idea of changing who I am hits her a little bit harder. It's like, you guys are trying to change me. And then Zosha sort of hits back with like, well, you're trying to change us. She decides to go to the medical supply facility and get some truth serum. And so she's picking up like vials of the truth serum to sort of administer. She also grabs a book to say, "Hey, I don't want to hurt her. Let me figure out the proper dosage and the way to do this properly." A funny bit is that while she's getting the truth serum, one of the join happened upon her, and they ask her, they help her. She's like, "Can you give me some heroin?" And they quickly was like, "You do remember what happened the last time you had heroin?" And so it's just a funny bit to like, "You sure you want to go down that path again?" But it's a way for them to just sort of for for her to take them off the scent of what it is that she's actually doing. But she eventually does get the heroin. She takes that and the actual truth serum, the thing that she really wants, back to her house to sort of conduct a test to see if the truth serum actually works or if it was just labeled incorrectly. She trashes the heroin. She dumps that in the toilet, and then she sets up a camcorder to record how she responds to after she administers the truth serum to herself. The next shot, we see her knocked out, and then she rewatches the tape to see what it is that she recorded in that moment. And in that, it's a very truthful moment. She's honest. She has a moment where she breaks down about how she's missing Helen. She has a moment where she talks about how much she wanted to bang Zosha and how hot she was. After seeing the video saying that she wanted to bang Zosha, she then disposes of the SD card that's in the camera. She recorded it and then flushes that down the toilet. We spend a specific amount of time on the shot to show that that memory card is intact. I think if we have any workers that work in the sewer, this card could come back to bite her in the butt at some point in time. She then decides to go back to the hospital, and now that she knows what amount to administer and that she was fine, let's go ahead and take this back to Zosha. Now, the one thing that Carol, because she's not a scientist or even a medical practitioner, she doesn't know the virus that they have. And so there could be whatever, it works fine for her, and whatever she has can take that truth serum perfectly fine. But she does not know what the makeup is of these joined. And so I don't know why it didn't click to her that, like, hey, this could come. She's so headfast and like, I want to get the truth. And the answer is not thinking about what this could do to the biology of a joint when you add truth serum. Like, there's nothing that has studied these folks. Neither here nor there. She goes back to Zosha, takes her for a roll in her wheelchair to get some fresh air. She administers the truth serum in her IV while they're going outside. Then she gets her into the center square of the hospital and just starts asking her questions, mainly trying to get more answers to how do you reverse this? Is there a way to reverse this? And Zosha locks up. She starts sweating and kind of not being able to answer. Her words get slurred a little bit. And then we see one of the scariest moments of all time is that people just start coming upon the two of them. All the join from everywhere. You just see them start walking from everywhere to just sort of encircle around both Zosha and Carol. To the point where Carol's like, hey, you guys need to back up a little bit. And they're still willing to acquiesce because they have to listen. And so they back up a little bit, but they are there to check in on Zosha because they all know that right now Zosha's going through cardiac arrest. Whatever she administered did not have the same reaction to her that it did to happen to Carol. They're also all repeating the phrase, please, Carol, please, Carol, please, Carol, please, Carol. And it is terrifying. It is creepy shit. And Carol's starting to freak out because she's like, now the girl that she clearly has some type of an affinity for, a crush, even though she's not human, she might have just taken her out. Like, she's done more damage to Zosha in the last 2 episodes than I think anybody has done to that poor girl her entire life, joined or not joined. Poor Zosha is catching it. The episode ends with them trying to resuscitate her from her cardiac arrest because you hear the defibrillator saying clear and stand back and all that stuff. But yeah, it is interesting to see Carol's one-track mind, and you get where she's coming from because she's coming from it like, hey, my mom put me in one of these type of camps that just wanted to change who I am, and you guys are trying to do that to me now too. She's doing everything humanly possible to remain who she is, but not realizing that she's doing the same thing to the joint. That brings up a good point where Zosha said, hey, you're trying to change us. Like, it's the same thing, tit for tat. It's just she feels like we had this already. We were already here and you came to take this from us. And you can tell why there's a little bit more honesty and openness and pain for her to say, I don't want to turn into whatever it is you guys are doing. She's steadfast in that. Now we have a further explanation as to why. But at some point, you got to think that these joined are going to see her as enemy number one. And even though that they are willing to take care of everybody, maybe they just don't associate with her anymore because you keep putting the person that we gave you, your companion, in peril. At what point does that stop? And we learn in some of the dialogue here that Zosha and the Join, they all are starting to get a better idea of what this high thing all is, or starting to understand it more. Um, but instead of asking those questions, Carol's kind of just like, well, how do I change you guys back to us? And I don't know if there is a back to us after what this is all done. But I think between that and the things that are happening at the very beginning in Paraguay, yeah, we're starting to get a much richer world. It's funny because we're only getting sort of small bites in each of these episodes, but it's so fulfilling what we get per episode. Um, it's the opposite of some of the other shows that I'm doing, like Dairy, that a lot of things happen in that, but it doesn't feel like the story is moving, or it doesn't feel like I'm getting any sort of information about the world or getting to the point. Whereas this, everything that I'm sort of getting is laying the groundwork. And I'm having a ball with this episode, this show. This one of the best things that I've seen in quite some time. What did you guys think about this fourth episode of Pluribus called "Please, Carol, Please, Carol, Please, Carol"? And at what point does Carol just stop torturing this poor girl? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere the place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.